So do affirmations actually work? Does it work to just tell your brain, I am rich, successful, and completely irresistible? And is that a necessary precondition to actually attract the events into your life for you to create that fantastic future? You know, I'm laughing about all these questions already because for me, this kind of thinking just never really worked. You know, when I felt like I was anything but successful, telling myself that this is exactly what I am wouldn't cause my brain to believe that sort of reality. You know, instead, I think my brain was telling me, Astrid, this is bullshit. You're lying to yourself. There's no evidence whatsoever in my reality right now that this is what's happening. It never worked for me to imagine that I was skinny, fit, and crazy and amazingly beautiful when I really didn't feel that way. And I found it very strange that so many people in the personal growth space would advocate for that. And I was always thinking, maybe I'm misunderstanding this, maybe I'm approaching it the wrong way. And just this week, I had this really cool conversation about when is it that affirmations work and when not, and what's a better way, what's a better alternative to the affirmations that don't actually work. And I want to share this today in this video. Yeah, so first thing, as you have probably guessed already from what I've said before, is I really struggle to believe affirmations that are obviously bullshit. And I think that is okay, you know. I think we shouldn't take our brains for stupid. One thing that I've realized works just so much better is to, you know, look for little evidence in your life and start to allow yourself to believe that this might show you that you're on a good path. I remember, for instance, when I was still working in a corporate job and I was really wanting to be more successful. And I put a lot of efforts into my presentations because I know I used to be that person who would be speaking way too fast and be way too active, moving my hands a lot. And you know, never really came across as being too crazily professional. At least that was I was thinking. And I really thought if I want to be more successful here, I have to work on my presentation style. So sometimes I really worked so hard to pull off the best presentation I could possibly give at that particular point in time. And I remember sometimes, you know, people in the audience were like smiling or saying, wow, this was like a really good presentation. And there were times where I discarded this, but as soon as I started to allow myself to believe that they were smiling because they liked the presentation and that this was some sort of positive feedback, which was a result of my behavioral change, this is when things really started to shift for me. So the big trick that I felt really working for me was making these assumptions more credible, you know, taking smaller steps. When you're broke, don't tell yourself, hey, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. No, like think about the next thing you can do to alleviate yourself of your financial pain. Go down that route, and once you get positive feedback, you know, allow yourself to believe that this is a result of your amazing behavioral change. And allow yourself to do it again and to learn and to have it feel easier and easier and easier for you. So for me personally, this was really the route when affirmations would work, you know, when I would have realistic affirmations that are bending my reality a little bit, and especially when I would be possibly a little bit selective about the kind of feedback the universe was giving me and the kind of feedback that I would see and really acknowledge and kind of really remember. And I felt that to be a much better way to teach my brain, hey, this is the route that you really want to go for and that you really want to follow. Doesn't this technique make it very tempting to just stay where I am? Is there really enough incentive for my subconsciousness to really go far? And the way that I think about it is, if that is a real wish of yours to really go very, very far, you're not going to lose that wish very easily. So as soon as you're feeling unsatisfied again in that micro situation, you know, so maybe now you're pretty used to getting standing ovations after your presentations, there's no harm about doing a next level affirmation, but again, just in a step that seems credible, that seems authentic to your own brain, right? So maybe now you want to say something along the lines of, now it's not just about the great presentations, but I really want to have my own subordinates and have my own employees and really get great feedback from them. And the way that I would recognize that sort of great and positive feedback would be X, Y, Z. And then once you're getting that again, allow yourself to really believe that this is happening, and this is happening because of your behavioral changes. And this is how I love much more to think about affirmations. For me, this is the kind of way that makes affirmations work, and that is such a better way of steering through that whole process of personal growth. Because the one thing I also find really annoying with these big affirmations, you know, that sort of situation where you're basically broke and you're telling yourself, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, is you don't know if being a millionaire is the actual real wish that you're having. And if you're prepared to actually pay the price on that journey of becoming such a millionaire. It might just be an immediate answer to a very, very acute pain that you're feeling right now. But if that is the best fundament to build on your vision for the next 2-3 years, I don't know. So I feel it's a way better way to have sort of successive micro decisions. For me, that's the way better way to basically steer yourself through that. Yeah, so that's the one thing I really wanted to share with you today. I hope you found it valuable. And as always, if you're curious about implementing any of what's said in these fabulous videos, don't hesitate to give us a call. The link for the coffee chats will be below this video. We offer free 45 to 60 minutes coachings for everybody who really wants to get going and live their lives to the next level. Cool. With these words, have a beautiful rest of the day and write me any questions that you have so we can respond to them through video or through any other means. Bye-bye.